Okay, so today we're diving deep into a situation that's been developing kind of rapidly, actually, over in the Kursk region
Yeah.
of Western Russia.
Yeah, right on the border with Ukraine.
Exactly. So it's right there on the border with Ukraine. And we've got a couple of reports here that we're going to kind of unpack today to sort of see what we can learn about what's going on over there.
Right.
One of them is from the ISW, the Institute for the Study of War. They do great work.
Yeah.
The other one is from the Ukrainian National Resistance Center.
Mm.
So we've got these two reports, and we're gonna try to sort through this with Yob.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, just at the top here is this really kind of underscores how much this conflict is impacting areas even beyond Ukraine's borders, right?
Absolutely.
So we're talking about Russia here, not even, inside of Ukraine itself.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that the ISW report really highlights, right? They're talking about the fact that Russian troops are pushing into an area, it's still technically considered to be controlled by Ukraine, but it's within Kursk.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, they mentioned these villages,
Yeah.
Dorzhino and Kruglan Koje. Have you heard of these?
I have. They've come up in some other reports as well.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, how does the ISW know this? How are they figuring this out?
That's a great question. So they use what they call geolocated materials, which, it sounds fancy, but
Sure.
basically it's just photos and videos that they can pinpoint to a specific location.
Oh, okay.
So, a lot of this stuff is coming from social media or other open sources, but they're like digital breadcrumbs,
Yeah, yeah.
They allow analysts to track troop movements, verify claims, and in this case, it's giving them, pretty strong evidence that Russian troops are pushing into this territory that was, as you said, previously held by Ukraine.
Mm. Yeah.
It's really interesting how they use those open source things.
Wow. Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the big question is, what does this tell us about Russia's, broader strategy here? What are they doing?
Yeah, it's part of a wider offensive that we've been seeing in Western Russia, and it raises a lot of questions, right? I mean, are they trying to just gain territory? Are they trying to establish some kind of buffer zone? Are they trying to, disrupt Ukrainian supply lines further into Ukraine?
Mm.
It's kind of too early to say for sure what their ultimate objectives are here,
Yeah,
but it's definitely a significant development that we need to pay attention to.
for sure. And of course, Ukraine's not just standing by and letting this happen, right?
Right.
The ISW report also mentions that there have been Ukrainian counterattacks in several areas of Kursk.
Right.
And also, they're doing these long-range strikes on targets inside of Russia.
Yeah, those long-range strikes are really important to keep in mind because they're likely aimed at disrupting Russian logistics. Right.
Hitting command centers, supply lines, things like that.
Yeah.
It's a critical aspect of Ukraine's defense, right? They're trying to weaken Russia's ability to sustain this offensive.
Right. So they're not just playing defense; they're also trying to sort of take out the things that are making the Russian offensive possible.
Exactly. It's like a chess match, right?
Yeah.
You've got to think a few steps ahead, anticipate your opponent's moves, and try to counter them.
Totally. So there's this back and forth happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's this other thing in the ISW report that I gotta say, when I read it, I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so they're citing these Ukrainian sources that are claiming that North Korean troops are fighting alongside Russian forces in Kursk.
Wow.
Yeah, and President Zelensky actually came out and accused Russia of trying to conceal their presence.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe by dressing them up as soldiers from minority groups within Russia or something like that.
Right. I mean, if this is true, this is a huge deal.
Huge, yeah, potentially huge implications.
Totally. So why would North Korea get involved in this? I mean, it's so far away from them. What are they doing there?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There are a few possibilities, that analysts are talking about.
All right.
One idea is they might be providing manpower in exchange for, financial aid or military technology from Russia.
Oh.
It's also possible that they see this as an opportunity to, strengthen their ties with Moscow. Creating a stronger alliance against the West, sort of
Right.
that whole dynamic.
Right. Yeah.
But honestly, the motivations are still really unclear, and that lack of transparency just makes it even more concerning.
Yeah. It's really kind of spooky, right? Like we don't really know what's going on there, and it's a little bit worrisome to think about.
It is. It definitely adds a whole other layer of complexity to an already volatile situation.
For sure. So let's switch gears for a second and talk about the other report that we have here, the one from the Ukrainian National Resistance Center.
Okay.
They're focused on something that's, maybe not as explosive as the North Korean thing, but it's still really concerning.
Right.
And it's this whole effort that Russia is making to establish a new TV and radio network in the parts of Ukraine that they occupy.
Yeah, this is a classic example of information warfare.
Yeah.
Right? They're trying to control the narrative, using this network to spread propaganda, to, try to undermine Ukrainian morale and potentially even like sow discord among the population, right? It's like they're trying to create an alternate reality that supports their agenda.
It's super, super cynical.
Yeah.
It's like they're just trying to manipulate people, and it's pretty messed up.
Yeah, and they're not wasting any time either.
No, that's the other thing.
The report says this program was launched, just this month, December 2024. Wow.
And they're aiming to have it fully operational by, the first half of next year.
Yeah, so they're moving fast.
They are. It really highlights how important media literacy is, especially in conflict zones.
Yeah.
People need to be able to critically evaluate information, identify propaganda, and really seek out diverse sources to get a balanced perspective.
Absolutely. So, it's pretty clear, right? This situation in Kursk it's complicated. It's evolving really quickly. We've got Russian troops pushing forward. We've got Ukrainian forces pushing back. We've got this possibility of North Korean involvement.
Yeah.
And then we've got this whole information war happening on top of it.
It really does raise a lot of questions of, will these developments escalate the conflict further? How will the international community respond?
Right.
And what does this all mean for the future of the region?
Yeah.
It's a situation that demands close attention as events continue to unfold. Absolutely. So, as you're following this story, as you're reading about it, as you're hearing about it, just think about the potential long-term impacts, right? Could this signal a real shift in the conflict's dynamics? Could it draw in new players onto the global stage? These are things to think about.
For sure.
So thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We're going to keep monitoring the situation in Kursk, and we'll definitely provide updates as they emerge.
Good stuff. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.